So what's it like living in a small town in rural Victoria, Australia? Well, I'm in Wycheproof and we're going to have a walk around and I'll give you an idea of what you can expect to see and what facilities you've got available to you when you live in a little town. Now straight away, mandatory almost for an Australian town, a large pub, community, very much a community hub, particularly during football season. Teams gather at the end of all their home matches. You've got your pharmacies and you've got your very nice, very traditional looking streetscape here with its old verandas all the way through. Beautiful old bank buildings. Now you can see the one across the road. We might get there a bit later, but the thing about bank buildings was they all had a residence upstairs and they were very well appointed, so they were beautiful buildings to convert into homes. An unusual thing about Wycheproof is that the railway line actually runs straight through the middle of town, as you can see here. Now it's odd because although the railway line runs straight through the middle of town, the station's actually at the end of town, so there was no advantage in having the trains run through town. We don't know why that's happened. We've got a bloke across the road here that's obviously into a bit of sculpture and a bit of art. The materials he uses, they look like old, predominantly old plough discs and railway ties, rims off old wagons, typical stuff you'd find in the mallee, left over from farming, and he converts it into these sculptures. Here we've got another old bank building, and like I said, they all came originally with a residence for the bank manager, and so they were very well appointed. The residences were beautiful. Have a look at the size of the building. They're a great one to get hold of if you can. Wycheproof's got one of the biggest town halls I've ever seen in a country town. We'll go past there shortly. But just moving past J.P. Cummins Proprietary Limited, established 1924. The blue tiling is still on the front here. It's now a hair and beauty salon. But the tiling in very good condition, looks quite good. We've had a solicitor move into a little commercial building. It's a beauty, vacant block. The old shed out the back of that vacant block up on stilts there was very common. They were raised off the ground because that put everything, all the freight, at the height of the tray of a truck or a ute. So it meant you didn't have to lift and manually handle. So that's a feature of a lot of those old delivery depots. Now here we have Wycheproof's Community Hall. Have a look at the size of the thing. We're looking at it obviously from the side, but it really is a grand building when you get round and see it from the front. But the depth of it goes all the way down, 2 blocks deep, 2 quarter-acre blocks deep. Bit of an Art Deco style to it. These buildings, here we go, Bullock Shire Council Wycheproof office, so it's still in use. Wycheproof Shire Hall. Look at the size of the building. Have a look at it. And this one is obviously being used as a Shire offices to this day, but the actual hall side of it would have ran everything from community functions, would have been a cinema in the day, all your significant parties and that for local people. If you have a look here, they've still got the ticket window. Back from the days when they would have ran balls and used the place as a cinema. This would have been a real service centre. Cash through the hole, tickets out the bottom. And the memorial stone, Shire of Wycheproof. This stone was laid by Honourable G.L. Goody, Minister for Public Works, May 9th, 1938. Then goes on to list the President and a heap of other notable people. But that ticket box really does provide a glimpse as to why these buildings were so big and so grand in the day. They were multi-use facilities. Still are. Over here we've got a typical commercial workshop type building. Corrugated iron, pretty much a farm shed built in the middle of town. This one used to be a service station. Gas pump's still out the front. The signage is gone, but you can see the bays for workshops where vehicles would come and go. And right next door, established 1940, hard to read the writing, Stanley Prater and Son, probably, established 1940. If you look really close up on the top hand right, the sign writer has actually signed his name to it, and it's still visible. Now I don't know whether that was, well, it's faded somewhat, but it's odd. It's remarkable that the sign writer's name's been left. Now this is another typical old commercial building. Got the big veranda out the front, sturdy posts. A lot of towns made people get rid of these posts because when cars came, they used to run into them, so they made everyone get rid of them. Now this shop, if you have a look inside, well, who knows, it's a bit of everything. It looks like he's still selling stock that he got in the 1970s, but anyway, it's a beauty. And here's another beautiful old building. The Commercial Bank of Australia Limited. This one's obviously been converted into a residence. And you can see just how comfortable they can get. We've got the driveway, the rendering and the paint job on this. They're beautiful. They've done a terrific job with this. They've kept the patina, well, they've kept the original architecture. They've just livened it up with some modern colours, and it's a beautiful building to this day. And so the main street goes on, police station across the road, but there's a lot more of a commercial hub further down. But we'll just take a quick look at this little pink building before we sign off in Wycheproof. Timber construction, corrugated iron roof, very, very typical. Again, that railway line in the middle of the town, that's how